we are just hours from the State of the Union, and we are joined by a very special guest. Introduce yourself for the folks at home.
Sylvia Garcia, Congresswoman, Texas 29, which is the Houston area. And this is my guest tonight, Ana Alvarez from Houston also.
Excellent. What do you think we're going to hear tonight in Trump's State of the Union address?
Well, I think that's why I invited Ana, because I think he's going to try to paint a rosy picture, an optimistic picture that all is great, the economy's doing well, and that people are employed, and go through all those numbers. But Ana is a perfect example of how the economy has not really helped her. She is a worker at the airport. She makes $7.25 an hour. It's the same thing she's made for the last 20 years. Imagine that, 20 years and not one penny increase in her salary. So she's here to talk about minimum wage and why we need to raise it to $15 an hour.
Do you think most Americans are buying Trump and many Republicans' rhetoric that the economy is flourishing, it's doing well, Americans are doing well? Or do you think that Americans know in their heart things aren't good? They haven't had raises. They're struggling.
Well, I think you hit it on the head, nail on the head. I think he thinks they're doing well. I think when he goes to Mar-a-Lago, he sees people that are doing well, but he needs to go down to the ground. He needs to go visit with working families. He needs to visit with workers like Ana that are struggling. They got to make choices. Can they afford their rent? Can they afford their prescription drugs? Can they afford to even take their kids to the movie once a month? It's about a quality of life that they don't have. So I don't think it's reaching all Americans. And anyone that suggests that the whole country's doing well just hasn't been out there. So
clearly you're out there. You are Representative Garcia's guest for the State of the Union tonight. When you hear Trump and other Republicans really tout how well the economy's doing, what's your response to them?
Honestly, I'm sorry. Honestly, I'm an average Joe like everybody else. I work 8 hours a day, $7.25 an hour. I'm from Houston, Texas. I work for the fourth largest city in the U.S. and the fourth largest airport in the U.S. I work for Bush Intercontinental Airport. I've been making $7.25 for 20 years. 20 years I've been making $7.25. And this president saying, oh, everything's great, everything's out there doing great. No. He needs to come down to Bush Intercontinental Airport, talk to the people, look how we work a day. We work 8 hours, 40 hours one job, 40 hours another job just to make it. At the end of the day, you can't live off of $7.25 an hour. You cannot. Back then you couldn't, and you couldn't do it today.
So similar to what Representative Garcia said, Trump and probably many of the Republican, elected officials really live in a bubble. They don't know what average Americans are going through. They go to Mar-a-Lago. They're surrounded by millionaires and billionaires, and they don't know what we're going through. What would you like to see the minimum wage become?
$15 an hour in the state of Texas. $15 an hour, that's what I want the people earn. People are above water. People is trying to live off $7.25, and you can't. You can't buy health insurance for $7.25. You can't pay the rent for $7.25. You cannot pay the light bill. You cannot put groceries on your table for your kids. You cannot for $7.25. Mr. Trump and his Republican friends need to come down and look at the average Joe like I and everybody else that works in the airport to see how we really work.
Last question. Representative Garcia, what can people do at home to ensure that the minimum wage is raised, ensure that the economy works for everyone?
Well, I think they need to contact a member of Congress or senators, especially their senators, because we have passed a bill in the House that would raise it to $15, but it's sitting on McConnell's desk together with a bill to get control of prescription drug prices, to lower them, together with the bill for equal pay for equal work, together with the Equality Act, together with the DREAM Act, and on and on and on. Because he has stalled and kept collecting dust on his desk, close to 200 bills. Increasing the minimum wage is one of them. We need to lift up our families, we need to lift up our workers, and make sure that everybody, gets a result from this economy of ours and from our great country.
Thank you so much for being here this evening. You are live with Act TV, we are at the Capitol. We're hours before the State of the Union. We have this amazing opportunity to interview members of Congress and some of their guests for the State of the Union. We're asking them all types of questions about the economy, about impeachment, about healthcare. We have many, many more interviews coming up. Don't go anywhere.